Hi guys, so I am meant to be working away here, but I just had to come on to broach this subject again of the low stomach acid, PPI use, well, the low high stomach acid debate and PPI use. Oh my word, like I just genuinely want to help people, and I think it is one area that the medical community has mostly got it wrong, shall I say. And maybe some of you guys and your experiences like you could share them in the comments because I've talked to a lot of people one to one about this. And I think it is a big concern for a lot of you, and quite rightly so. So yeah, I just want to keep banging that drum and kind of talking about it. Um, and yeah, I've just kind of put together a few points and questions on the subject just to get you guys thinking and hopefully having a bit of a discussion about it. Um, my first thought is so for people who are on PPIs already, like why were you put on them in the first place? So from talking to people, I think it's mostly when people are struggling with symptoms like acid reflux or heartburn, they go to the doctor and they get PPIs. But I might be proven wrong here, but is anyone actually being tested for high stomach acid? I would imagine that's in the minority that people are actually being tested before being given these medications out. But correct me if I'm wrong. For the majority, also I'm talking about, and this is a problem because my opinion, and from working with people, talking to people, real life experiences, low stomach acid is often the problem instead. Um, so just because that acid is reaching your esophagus and causing discomfort and pain, you can feel it, doesn't mean you have too much acid. What it means is the acid is getting into the wrong place. And we know that actually low stomach acid can cause this because when your stomach acid levels aren't high enough in your stomach, the upper esophageal sphincter won't close. And that means the acid is getting into the wrong place. So it's not that levels are too high, it's levels are too high in your esophagus, but it's in your tummy, probably levels are too low, and it's this is causing the problems and causing the acid to get into the wrong places. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of put that point across that like we need that sphincter to be working, but if your stomach acid levels are in the bin, then it doesn't need to because it thinks there's not enough acid here, so I don't need to work, and that's when we get the symptoms. So I think it just makes perfect sense physiologically, and this is what I urge people to kind of question and ask questions to your doctor or whoever, um, because it makes sense to ask questions and to understand the processes. So it makes sense if your stomach acid is low, your sphincter doesn't need to shut because it doesn't need to protect your esophagus, or so it thinks. Because usually you would just have low stomach acid, like between meals when your tummy isn't full and there's no real need for that sphincter to close. But when people are actually there's enough acid or attempts at digesting your meal, but not enough, really, then that sphincter isn't going to be working properly. So yeah, another thing that physiologically makes sense to me is why this low stomach acid theory is so relevant to so many people is because of stress. Stress directly depletes your stomach acid, and this is because your body is responding to the same way as to stress as it did traditionally. So when you are frazzled doing the school run, stressed with a million things, the mental load is through the roof. Your body still thinks you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. Okay, your body is responding in the same way. So your body is thinking, we're running away here. It's a life or death situation. I don't need to be digesting your latest meal. That can wait till later. And your digestion is put on the back burner. So your secretions go down, your digestion is not optimal. And this makes perfect sense. And then unfortunately now we have chronic stress. So this state continues longer than we would want. But yeah, it makes perfect sense that stress is causing your digestion to be not as efficient. Doesn't make sense that your stomach acid would improve or go up. And these would be in really rare cases because see if your stomach acid levels were too high, they were too high and very efficient, then we would be breaking down all the food that we eat properly. That would help with food sensitivities, allergies, all that kind of thing. More so the sensitivities, intolerances. you would be absorbing all your nutrients perfectly. So there would be fewer nutrient deficiencies, iron, B12, all these things that are connected to the stomach that everyone is deficient in. That wouldn't be an issue if stomach acid was high. What else? Breaking down your food, so absorbing them, energy, nutrients, intolerances. You would be fending off bugs, bad bugs. So some that reside in the tummy, H. pylori, not a thing. If we have too much stomach acid, they would not survive. And then just your stomach acid is a line of defense for normal bugs. So food poisoning, cold and flus, all these kind of things, like your stomach acid would have a good go at eliminating those. So my thoughts are, do we have too much or too little? Based on the population, people's problems, I think we're more likely to be struggling to digest our food properly, suffering with food intolerance, suffering with nutrient deficiencies, struggling with H. pylori, struggling with colds and flus and infections. Why is that? Because we have low stomach acid. And this is also, I've worked with people who have been on PPIs, people that haven't, have kind of tried different methods and supplements as well. And again, from experience, when people are on PPIs, their symptoms don't really tend to improve. And if they do, it's in the short term. So in the very short term, if you're driving stomach acid levels down even lower than low, then okay, that stomach acid might struggle to then reach your esophagus. So you might notice a reduction in heartburn. But longer term, it's driving that low stomach acid state, which we know causes these symptoms, heartburn, reflux. So people quite often continue to have these symptoms. And then longer term, unfortunately, when you're driving your stomach acid levels down longer term, that's when you run into other issues such as your nutrient deficiencies that affects your bone health, and just everything that I mentioned that we need stomach acid for. You're breaking down your food properly, so how you're reacting to foods, nutrient deficiencies, which is whole body. We're talking physical, mental. I think the bone fractures and bone health has been documented. That's a big one in the research, so that is there for people to read. But of course, there's other issues that crop up that hasn't really been assigned to nutrient deficiencies so much. We're talking physical and mental health here. So yeah, I'm going off on a bit of a rant here, but short term, potentially some relief for a few. So also the guidance on these medications is for a few weeks. So fair enough. If your esophagus is a bit raw, let it heal. Get those stomach acid levels down for a short period of time. Let your esophagus heal. But then we want stomach acid levels back up. So we don't want to be on these medications long term. If you are and haven't questioned it yet, please question it. It just does not make sense to me. And then, as I say, I've worked with people who have tried supplements. So no particular supplement here that I'm pushing or anything. I just genuinely want to help people. But there's been different, like if you want to question it and kind of do a slight test yourself, bitterness is really what you need. So you get bitter foods, bitter supplements. Arguably, supplements are more bitter, so that can be a bit of a stronger test. But like in the Mediterranean diet, they all start their meals with bitterness. So like artichoke, rocket, green leafy veg, even olives, like those kind of strong bitter tastes. Start your meal with that. You will feel your mouth watering instantly. That transfers to your stomach. Then you get bitter herbal remedies, so a step up, even more bitter. They're often in liquid form, so like yarrow, complex, centurium. But those are the obvious ones. But I've used other bitter herbal remedies with success. If I've rarely had a bout of acid reflux, something like echinacea. So it's huge right now because of the cold and flu season. And it naturally tastes very bitter. When you get a lovely unprocessed tablet or tincture, chew the tablet or the tincture just in a small splash of water, it tastes better in your mouth. I've had success with echinacea taking away acid reflux. But for more success, I would probably go with something like yarrow or centurium. But then there's other remedies which I wouldn't necessarily recommend kind of across the board or for long-term use, but you actually get hydrochloric acid supplements. So that is actually the acid that's present in your stomach. And people have used that just to click that, oh my gosh, it's actually acid that I need. Like I shouldn't be limiting it or taking it away. So that's another option just for people to try if they suspect they're low stomach acid. Don't want to just take my word for it. Try it for yourself. And yeah, as I say, please comment, share your experiences. I'm genuinely trying to help people, and I do talk to people on a one-to-one basis a lot about this. And yeah, just trying to keep banging the drum and get that message out there. Yeah, because I could talk a lot about nutrition, what to eat, but what's the point if your stomach's not working?